Okay. So, as a reminder, every strong brand is comprised of four key elements. Together, they form a brand key, which becomes your marketing's North Star. Without this, it's really hard to deliver the kind of consistency that you need to build your brand. Last week, we went over the importance of understanding your brand's values. So far, we've done audience, values, or actually last week, we went over style. But the benefits of creating strong brand values and style include improved recognition, trust, and connectivity. So did everyone do this exercise? I would love to hear what everyone came up with for your guys' style.
And maybe somebody just wants to say like, hey, I came up with one idea.
Put it in the chat if you guys came up with anything for your style. Okay, well, we'll keep going. So last 4 weeks, we've discussed the benefits of creating a strong brand key, audience, value, style. Today, we're going to discuss essence. I want to do a brief recap of audience, values, and style so that just in case you guys weren't here, you can remember or you can understand what this is about. So brief recap of audience. If the audience changes, everything changes. So your marketing and branding should not be for everyone, because when your brand tries to be for everyone, you end up with a brand that speaks to no one. This is a concept that agents really struggle with. I think everyone always says, oh, I can sell to anyone, anywhere, and it ultimately hurts them and their brand. One of the first steps is building out your brand is defining and narrowing your target audience, not making it wider. So, who is your audience? That's the first question to ask yourself. Second question, brand values. The benefits of creating strong brand values include improved recognition, trust, and connectivity. Impactful brand values improve recognition. Brand values determine your brand's identity, message, and personality. These brand principles guide story, actions, behaviors, and decision-making processes. Investing in and knowing in your brand values is fundamental to ensuring your business remains unique in a saturated market. Style is many things. As we know, it's not only a manner in doing things, but it's also in a distinctive appearance. So there's two facets to style. A brand style is a holistic set of standards that defines your brand, such as the way you present yourself and your listings, both in person and online. Obviously, logo usage, colors, visuals, but also grammar, tone of voice, word usage, point of view, etc. So all three of these things, audience, value, and style, will help you come together and put what your brand essence is. So while keeping these three things in mind, establishing your brand essence is the last important step in building out your brand key. Yes, Butch.
Well, I think too, what I wanted to share is like, look at Mai. She did her homework, which is great. Let's give her some kudos. Yes. But she put in her style, dynamic, friendly, multicultural, polished.
Perfect.
And so let's take a look at your background, right? Like your backdrop behind you. It's trees in like a suburban area, right? I don't know if that's Calabasas, but what I would share with you is we're still doing a lot of Zooms. And as you create your style and your essence, the backdrop should reflect that, right? If Leonard was having his backdrop, and I would say that for you, like look at Wayne's right now, like he's off camera, right? Like you want your backdrop to reflect who you are in style so that you're super memorable, right? And if that's what you want is like trees, but I think if you're dynamic, friendly, multicultural, like you could do something as your backdrop that really enhances that message and that people see that right away. And again, when you're on a Zoom call, it's a great thing to remind people, like you're on a 6 a.m.ers, right? There's 200 people, like, are they going to like your backdrop and be like, wow, that's really cool. That's interesting. That's memorable, right? Or is it just a generic backdrop?
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. So brand essence is the soul of a brand and acts as the foundation. So the brand appears consistent and authentic. It defines what you as a brand stands for, shapes the overall identity, and aims to invoke a particular thought, feeling, or emotion in consumers. Typically, this is expressed in 2 to 3 words. So it should not be a mission or vision statement. It's not a slogan. It's 2 or 3 words max. It is the emotional reason for someone to care about your brand. People now like to know about the practices behind the curtain of their favorite brand. The brand essence informs the audience, employees, and other brand partners about the nature of the brand. Great example is Coca-Cola. By looking at these 2 ads that they placed, what would you say that Coca-Cola's brand essence is? Happiness, fun. That's exactly what it is. Happiness is Coke's brand essence. They don't say, oh, you're so happy when drinking a Coke, but everything that they do makes it seem that way, right?
Well, I always thought that was interesting from Kevin Knight that shared, he was a brand guy for large corporations. You'll notice Volvo never.
Wait, but I'm going to go into all this.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so the most.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited to talk about Volvo, my car.
It's a great example. Before we get into that, just a little bit more on brand essence. The most successful brands today go beyond their products. Find the emotional journey of your customer, know their pain points, and think about how you want someone to feel when they interact with you and your brand. So the importance of knowing what your brand essence is to be able to inform brand decisions, right? What should my color scheme be? What should my logo look like? How should my print materials look? What should my website look like? What should it say? Define your competitive advantage, why you're different, right? How you're going to market that. And then building trust with your clients, because the more consistent you are with your messaging, the more you'll be able to be trusted by your consumers. So as you guys know, at the end of all of this, like our job at Upgrade is to find unique ways to amplify your brand key in the most strategic way possible. By putting your voice, values, and strengths in front of the right audience, you'll ultimately be able to create meaningful and lasting connections with your audience. Okay, so let's go into a few examples. We're going to not do Leonard today because I think there are easier ones that we all know. So we're going to go through 4 examples, and I want everyone to put in the chat what you think each company or brand's essence is. What's Disney's brand essence? Magic, magical. Exactly. That is their brand essence, magic. For children, that's their audience. Right? Children is their audience. Magic is their essence. Volvo. Safe.
I ruined it.
So Volvo is one of the easiest ones to say. Look, you can see that everyone knows it. And what Butch was going to say is they very rarely ever mention how safe the car is. But what they do is they show on their commercials or in their print ads, they'll show, what the car looks like after a crash, or kids in the, families and how dependable it is with kids, etc. They're not necessarily saying, oh, we're the #1 safest vehicle, right? And what do agents do all the time? I'm the #1 this, I'm the top 1% that. That's not doing anything. That's not saying anything, especially when everyone says it, right? Exactly, Mike. You're on your 8th Volvo. Butch has a Volvo. This brand has some of the most loyal clients out of any brand on earth. And it's because they are so consistent with their branding that people know that they can trust the product.
Can I just say, I was driving the other day, this car jerk stopped and the seat belt tightened up and my steering and the car stopped automatically. I was like, whoa, that is crazy. It was like, it literally like fastened me in, like ready. Like I was like, wow.
Yep. Okay, another car, BMW. This one's a little bit harder, but I think we'll be able to get this one. Luxury. I wouldn't say luxury. Yes. Sporty, speed, the pleasure of driving is their slogan. So again, not necessarily their brand essence, but it is very, very similar. Their brand essence is performance and pleasure. Because Mercedes and BMW are both luxury. But what BMW is saying is you're gonna have fun driving our car. Last one. We talked about this earlier on a few weeks ago, Patagonia. What's their essence? Earth conscious, environmental steward, love of the outdoors. Love of the outdoors, I'm pretty sure, is their slogan. Again, very different. Preservation. Yeah. Their essence is responsibility, right? Sustainability. And it makes people come back to this, like, responsibility and sustainability. It's really important for this brand because not only do they have a lifetime warranty, right? So that's one way that they're showcasing that. But also there's every single price point at Patagonia. You can get something for $10,000 and you can get something for $50. And they're constantly investing in the environment. Okay. So if people were asked to describe your brand / you, would it be obvious to them what that word is? In other words, what is your essence? Dependable. Some tips for finding your essence. Review other parts of your brand key. Go through audience, values, style. Go through all of these things. Read through your testimonials. Ask yourself what makes you special. So a lot of these words that I'm seeing that you guys are putting in are great starts. I wouldn't say that it makes anyone different, right? Like, you have to have passion to be an agent. You have to be detailed to be an agent. Otherwise, you wouldn't be good at it, right? So establish a mission or vision statement, because oftentimes your brand essence can be pulled from that. Yeah. But
could you share like what you think, some essences could be for everybody, like for as a realtor? Like, is there some that come?
Yeah, I mean, we do it all the time right at Upgrade, but I don't know people's audience value and style. So it's hard for me to say that off the top of my head. But
Like some examples of people's essence, maybe,
Yeah. Let me think about some of our clients and I'll go through this. But one thing to note here is what I see a lot of agents do is trying to mimic or copy their peers or their competitors or the top agent in their neighborhood. They're like, oh, well, they do X, Y, and Z, so I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, because that obviously must be how they got all their deals or they've gotten their success. So they're doing well because it's true to them. You need to find what's true to you and what's different about you. If the top agent in your area, his audience is different than yours, or his values are different than yours, or your style is different than yours, and you match it, that's not going to work out because you're not going to be able to be authentic with it, and you're not going to be able to be consistent with it because it's not true to who you are. Empowering women, that's a good one. So once you have identified your brand's essence and built out your brand key, once everything is done, your next steps would be, obviously, right? Market it. A solid marketing and advertising plan is necessary once these companies have determined what differentiates them from their competition. So once you guys have finished with your brand key, it'll be so much easier to build out a marketing plan to execute on that, right? How am I going to reach my audience, showcase my values, showcase it with style, and make sure that they understand my essence.
So can I say a couple things? Because
Mhm.
I think there's some really good stuff happening here on the chat. So I look at, like, let's take, for instance, Wayne. I'm going to pick on you today, Wayne. But like his style is easygoing, right? His essence is easygoing.
I would say that's a style though, right?
Yeah, okay, but somewhere behind there is some essence
Right.
behind that of like, hey, I'm going to make it really comfortable to work with me, right? I'm not going to be salesy. I'm not going to bullshit
Yep.
you. I'm going to come at you straight. It's going to be, and so if you were doing, you might do interviews with people, and the interview would be really casual and not overproduced, right? And you would be just sitting down with like a phone, maybe it's in the car, right? Driving around with people and say like, hey, like almost looking at Jerry Seinfeld, how he does like the coffee talk, right? Like something like that, where you just interview people right at a coffee shop, and it would be in a coffee shop because you're easygoing and casual, or in the car and like you're driving around looking at real estate, and you talk about different topics.
Right.
If you were talking about empowering women, right? That's your essence. So you would want to have like conversations about women empowerment, your meetings, like you would have like invitations to certain powerful women that you meet, and you would talk to them and say, hey, would you mind, I have a house and I'm going to put together a luncheon at the house. You tell the owner, right, I'm going to do this luncheon, I'm going to have this great gal speak, and then you send it out to friends and say like, please invite 2 or 3 friends, this gal's amazing, and I really want you to hear what she has to say because she's so powerful and I love her message. Imagine no one's going to turn that invitation down, right? Like, so these are the kind of things that we're talking about that you get to leverage once you discover and do this whole key. Now we're going to plug it in right into the Superman suit and say like, okay, great. These are all the things that I'm going to start doing now. Does that make sense for everybody? Raise a hand. Like if this, so once you get this, then you start going through that, right?
Yeah.
So
I think all these words are either values or style, like Kim detailed. I think you could expand upon that. Detailed in what way? Why?
right, exactly. I think
Right.
Kim, on yours, I'd work on that a little bit, because the detailed, do you see how it would be hard to set up a thing to create detailed, you know, unless it was about architecture and design and all your stuff was like super clean lines and your background was super clean lines and you're like, hey, I think that we just have to tweak it a little bit,
Yeah.
and so
Just expand upon it.
right. I think you're close, but you're just got to go a little
Yeah.
bit
I'll
further.
pull up a few examples of like upgrade clients after we go through this.
And then like Ryan said, passion, right? And so if you remember a couple of weeks ago, Penny, that gal was from New York, she was on, and she goes, I want to be a matchmaker. And like we talked about like matchmaking. So if Ryan, passion is your thing, like then you better have red in your in your colors, right? And like you're passionate and you're talking about passionate things.
But passion is so vague. Again, like take it a next step further. Passion about
Passionate
what?
about what?
Why?
What?
And
Yeah,
why?
why?
The matchmaking thing is we actually came to her essence in the chat because what she originally said was connector. And I said, so is everyone on this call. So let's take it a next step further. I think the advice to think about how you want people to feel about you and your brand, essential there, right? Things like detail, etc., aren't a feeling, but how would that make your client feel? Like you're going to take the stress away. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so once you come up with your marketing plan and executing it all, then the next step would be to meet these expectations, right? If you say you're incredibly detail oriented, be it. The public no longer chooses between 2 brands based only on price. And let's be honest, for the most part, you guys all cost the same. So why are people choosing one of you over, like both Brad and Butch are in San Francisco? Let's pretend they had the same exact audience. Why would someone choose Brad over Butch or vice versa? Because of their essence and their brand key and what they stand for. So now is the moment to look for businesses that connect with their customers and give them meaningful value. And then the most important thing, and I think this is often forgotten by agents because they get busy, they don't have someone helping them, or the market fluctuates, is staying consistent. Don't follow your competitors, don't follow trends, don't go up and down because everything else is going up and down. You know, if you stay consistent, you'll always stay top of mind. So I'm going to bring up an example of a brand key. Let me pull one up. Hold on. Sorry, hold on. Okay. So here was a first round. We actually edited this afterwards. So this is a team that are out of the Hamptons, okay? But they're like new money team. So Hamptons is typically known for old money, right? Older people. So what we said was, you know, you're the classic Hamptons style home with the classic Hamptons architecture, but with a Tesla in the front. It's not this. You're a Soho house, you're exclusive, you're hard to get into, you're younger, you're not the St. Regis. But you're also a classic brand like Audi, and it's something that's dependable and understandable, not so modern where people are like, what is that? So this was our first round. We've actually made revisions since then, but their audience, newer money, late 30s, potentially with a couple of kids, like to travel, work remote. They're not just coming to the Hamptons for their status. Values, a conduit to Hamptons life, not just a transaction, but a relationship, ambitious, but grounded. Style, local, authentic, confident, new school style with old school credibility. The essence we have here is audacity. The brand message from this key was navigating the Hamptons like only a rooted local can. Brittenbach Advisory Team helps clients realize their own Hamptons dreams.
When we say that too, can I just show too, when we say their own Hamptons dreams, what's that saying? Like, you're not comparing yourself to others, right? That's huge. If you ever meet Matt, he's a great guy, total like New York kind of, you know, strong guy. And he's like, yeah, I don't follow trends. I do my own stuff, right? Like that's him, and that's his essence. And that's, and clients, again, he can work with somebody that's not like that, that's more timid, but they're like, you know, these guys coming in from New York, like, yeah, that's my guy, right? And like, I'm not going to try and keep up with the Joneses. I'm different. And I think that that's really captured in that brand key that you just shared. You know, that is him, right?
Right. And like what you said, he's not scared to be different. And that's why we have essence as audacity, because typically in the Hamptons, it's very formal, old school, New York traditional, and he doesn't care about any of that. And he's like, I'm going to come in and make myself known and be different. There's another example of an agent, one of our clients. So this team, their audience, younger couples in transition. So they're getting married, they're having kids, etc. From the city to the suburbs type of vibe. So they do certain suburban areas right around the city and the city, typically lean left politically, probably feeling a little overwhelmed oftentimes, average price point and target price point. Values, fun, forever young, the fun mom who makes it more fun. Life experience, she's been through this stage and she can show you how. Empathy, loves what she does and you can tell. diffuses the intensity of the home buying and selling process. Her style, ready for life, can go straight from a showing to the bar, a hike to dinner. Young at heart, quality but never showy, jeans and a nice top. That's what she said. We asked her to describe her style. She said jeans and a nice top. And the girls get that. We're always like, oh, what are you guys wearing? What are you wearing? Jeans and a nice top. So her essence is the path more fun. Brand message. Having discovered the path more fun, Lori can help you find it too. Or becoming a grown-up doesn't mean you have to ever really grow up. Or it'll be more fun with Lori. Context. Her audience is going through life transitions, marriage, babies, suburbs. They're growing up. Lori's been through all of that too. And by being intentionally mindful of the fun in life, she knows how to help people become grown-ups without ever really growing up. And if you've ever met Lori, this is her on a piece of paper. Brand direction. Does that scream fun? That was option 1. This was the option we ended up going with. Content pillars, her collection, happy hour, literally is its own content pillar. You know, paying it forward, charitable, and traveling. So some ideas we came up with her are Wine Down Wednesdays. Once a week, she does like what to do is fun in the area, etc.
And this really is her, you know, like she's elegant, but like totally casual, right? And like her houses exude that, right? When she designs houses and preps them for sale, it's got her essence in there a lot, right? And it's like she drives a Range Rover and it's done up, but not too like she's fun. And so that's really her kind of thing, you know.
So like you can tell that this is her vibe, right? Like look at her Instagram. Her name is Mama Abby. We did not come up with that. That was all her. And it's always pictures. This is like with her client. Look at how close they are. Doesn't that, and they're smiling so big. So next steps would be to fill out the questionnaire for yourself. I'm not doing anything with these answers. It's all for you guys. You guys get you guys will get the responses emailed to you.
Don't you think like too for her, like Lori, like I think of Shania Twain. I don't know why, but like when I think of Shania Twain, I think of Lori, you know? And so that's one thing that you can always think of is like, if I were a celebrity, right? Like who would I be?
We do ask that. We do ask that.
Mm-hmm. And so that's one thing that you can use to help you is like, again, look at a company that defines you. Like, what company do I really love? Why do I like that? They probably have the same essence as you. There's probably a reason that you love that company or that you love that celebrity, right? Like, I admire Chris Pratt. Like, he's kind of goofy, says inappropriate stuff, you know, that a hybrid of Will Ferrell, you know, if I drink, that kind of, you know, kidding. I'm super serious. But like, anyway, those types of things. Anyway, hopefully that's helpful for you guys.
So I definitely urge everyone to do the questionnaire and fill out this brand key for yourself. I think it would be a really great exercise for you guys to be able to set the foundation for your brand. Then you can start to work on strategy and planning for your marketing. And like always, if you guys need any support or if you need help executing on all of this, definitely reach out to me. This is what we do for agents across the country.
Thanks, you guys. And then we have, you know, they do the survey and then we will let you guys go. But this weekend is a great opportunity, or, you know, as the market is kind of changing, you know, just wake up on a Saturday morning and just go, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to kind of write this down. And then you can even, again, if you want to, pick somebody out that's on this class here that you've seen a couple times and say like, hey, do you want to do this with me? Like maybe a Monday afternoon. Again, building those relationships.
Thank you guys.
And then also to anybody that's coming to Atlanta on Monday night, the 24th, we're having a little party at the, it's called Five Church. And it's right across from the Four Seasons in Midtown, I think, right? It's in Midtown. And it's like around 6, 7 o'clock. Come say hi. If you're going to be in Atlanta, we'd love to see you face to face.
Yes.
Have a margarita. What do they drink in in Atlanta? Jubilee, peach Jubilee. I'll have to look it up, but I'll be having a craft beer, as you guys know. Anyway, thanks everyone.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, you too.